What's up, everyone? Welcome to Political Fight Club. I'm your host, Robert Durden, and I want to expand on something that I talked about yesterday. I did a video on the mass shooter in Boulder, Colorado at the King Soopers there that killed 10 people with the AR-15. And I said in that video something that I absolutely do believe, but I want to clarify so that people don't misconstrue what I've said, is that I said that whenever this type of thing happens, a mass shooting happens, I hate it when the first thing people ask is, oh, was it a white guy? Or was it a Muslim guy? Or was it a black guy? Or was it a what? It doesn't matter unless the victims all turn out to be one color, or if we find out that it was in fact a hate crime. So like when there was that mass shooting at the the country music festival, and they killed, there was so many people killed. I think it was like 50, 60 people killed in that mass shooting a couple of years back. The first question should be, well, what happened that led someone to fire an AR-15 or an assault rifle into a group and kill as many people as they can? Now, if that same thing happened at a mosque, my first question would be, okay, was it a white guy? If that happened at a Baptist church, like it did with Dylan Roof, my first question would be, yeah, was it a white extremist? So of course it does matter, but only in crimes where it seems like there's a hate crime involved or a pattern in the victimology. This guy walked in and basically shot a whole bunch of people in the middle of the night, I believe, in a supermarket. Dylan Roof went into a Baptist church and prayed with a bunch of black people and then killed them all. The killer, Robert Long, killed 8 people, 6 of which were Asian women in spas. So he went specifically to spas that were staffed by Asian people. Then it is pertinent. And here's the second part, which this was brought to my attention, and of course I do want to talk about it, and I would have talked about it in the other episode had I had more time, is the response that police had and have to different minorities versus white people, and that is a racial problem and a separate story. So the guy that was taken, the shooter at the King Soopers in Boulder, Colorado, he was shot, but he was not killed. Walks into a supermarket, was not killed by police, even though he shot and killed 10 people. And I don't even know how many other people were injured. But they took him alive. I'll give you a wild guess on what color he was. Now, I don't know the ethnicity of him, but I've seen his picture. He looks white. So here's the problem, and this is what this episode is about. There's absolutely racism when it comes to the police force and police brutality. And so this guy can go in and commit something heinous like this. Dylan Roof is the other one that I always like to bring up, where he killed all those black people in the Baptist church, and the police actually put him in a Kevlar vest, put him in handcuffs, and then drove him to Burger King to get him some burgers before they took him to the jail. And yet, somebody like Jacob Blake, who was armed but wasn't doing anything, was shot 7 times in the back in front of his kids in his van. Tamir Rice he was the young boy who was killed by police. He had a toy gun. And they treated him with the type of brutality that they could have easily treated this guy that killed 10 people with, and nobody would have batted an eyelash because he was a mass shooter. If you catch him in the act and he's got a gun, I don't care if you kill him, but I want there to be some sort of consistency. And so the problem is that police always shoot all the black people when they're doing nothing wrong. Not always, but you saw what happened to George Floyd. Did the people that arrested this guy that killed 10 people in Boulder, Colorado, did they kneel on his neck until he died? I'm pretty sure the backlash would have been much less because he just killed 10 people. I'm not calling it right, but isn't it funny that they'll kneel on George Floyd, his neck, until he dies, but they will bring this guy out having just shot him in the leg or something like that? Jacob Blake was in a fucking wheelchair and you shot him in the back 7 times. He didn't do anything like this. So we absolutely do have a racist problem. But it's with the police officers. So I wanted to address that separately. Of course, there is a huge racist issue with the police force in this country and using deadly force with minorities who do almost nothing. And then the opposite extreme is almost as disgusting, where white people can get away with fucking anything, and the cops will do anything they can to avoid even arresting them, let alone shoot them. I've seen a video of a naked guy on drugs that's white chasing the cops around the neighborhood, and the cops are running away from him, trying to avoid him rather than tase him or deal with. And see, that's the thing. That's how it should be. I'm not saying that if it was a black guy, they probably would have shot him. But I would say, yeah, let's treat everybody like they're a white naked guy running around. Don't touch them. If they're not hurting anybody else, just like try to calm things down. But we don't need to be putting 7 in the back of everybody that, is out in public and seems to have a certain melanin content. So I'm getting frustrated with it. There is obviously a double standard where, you can be a white, mass murderer, serial killer, bomber, and they'll treat you just fine. But then you have a toy gun, or they say it's coming right for us right before they shoot you if you're black, and it's all good. So there's obviously some racism, a lot of rampant racism in the police force. I could break that down and talk about it for an hour about how the police force has been infiltrated by Nazis, neo-Nazis, and Klan members. So a lot of people, as it turns out, that are on the police force are just, they're going to different meetings on the weekends, or they know people that go to the meetings. So that's why they don't fuck with white people the way they fuck with black people. It's because they're racist, and because a lot of their friends, brothers, acquaintances are, part of these racist organizations. What can I say? Defunding the police would be good. It's a good start. There's a bunch of other things you can do too to address systemic racism, but defunding the police would be wonderful. Anyway, I'm glad that they have the guy in custody that killed those people. He'll go to, I believe they have a maximum security facility in Cannon City, Colorado, which is where the Joker went. The guy that shot up everybody at the theater in Colorado, Aurora. So I think they'll probably send him there, and he's going there for the rest of his life if he doesn't get the death sentence. So keep fighting the good fight out there, guys. I wish I had better news for you, but, keep doing what you're doing. Love you. See ya.